When you wake up in the morning, what is it that actually gets your feet to hit the floor and gets you excited to get the day started and to get out there and do something with yourself and with your life? Or when you wake up, do you have something that actually gets your feet hitting the floor and gets you excited to get out there and win the day? So is there something that actually drives you? Is there something that motivates you to want to achieve more? Is there something that makes you excited to start the day? Welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. So recently I came across a statistic that's extremely disturbing, and that statistic is that 64% of men between the ages of 18 and 29 are single. Now, in the contrast, only 34% of women in the same age group are single. So the problem with those statistics is they're only set to grow, or they're being predicted to grow. Now, men between the ages of 30 and 40, that number drops drastically to 30%. However, it's being predicted that by 2034, 54% of men are still supposed to be single, versus the contrast of right now, it's only at 30%. And I think that's because it's generational, right? Because people of my generation put more value on marriage. People of my generation, we put more value on having children and creating a legacy, and family, and our priorities were completely different. You know, anymore we're being programmed to put value on stuff. We're being programmed that having a career is more important than legacy. We're being told and brainwashed that going out there and making $1 million a year is the only way that you're ever actually going to be successful, or that's the only driving force that you should have is stuff. Now, I can tell you, when I wake up in the morning, what makes my feet hit the floor and excited to conquer the day is my family. I have a purpose. You know, I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful, amazing daughter. I have everything that somebody could want, and I'm perfectly happy with where my life is. You know, there was a period in my life where it seemed more like I was living to work instead of working to live, right? I had, my perspective was all jacked up. I believed that my purpose was to work, and my purpose was to make more money. My purpose was to accumulate more stuff. You know, at some point in my life, and it was I would say around the time that my daughter was born, where I had an awakening, and that awakening was that I need to be working to live. I need to be doing more than just surviving. You know, even though I made fantastic money, I blew it all. I blew everything I made. You know, we were living paycheck to paycheck, making killer money in the early 2000s. But I thought that, like, you know, my purpose was to accumulate stuff. I needed all this stuff. I needed more to survive. And eventually I came to the point where I realized that, you know, accumulating stuff, it's not our purpose. And that should never be any sort of a driving force. That should never be why your feet hit the floor. What does stuff do for you? It does absolutely nothing. We have to look back at our instincts, and we have to look back at what our true nature and our purpose of being here on earth, what it's all about. And I firmly believe that it's all about creating legacy. It's all about giving. It's all about helping people. It's all about our family. So, you know, I realize that these statistics, they'll never be 100%. You know, that there will never be a time, and there never has been a time where 100% of all people are married or in a serious, intimate relationship. I understand that, but these statistics and these percentages, they should be alarming. They should be a wake-up call to all of us that our priorities are being put in the wrong places. So in the comments, I get called a chauvinist and all kinds of good names like that because I'm a man, and people like to throw that word around, like a chauvinist or the coin the phrase the toxic masculinity. You know, and I get that because of the way that I talk about femininity and masculinity. And what I mean is, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's no such thing as toxic femininity. There's simply toxic people. And the masculine or the feminine just happens to be their gender, and it's nothing more. But then if we look at this movement of feminism, You know, if you want to talk about toxic, look at feminism. And women are thinking that that's empowering, or being a feminist is empowering to women, when it's doing nothing more than devaluing them as people. It's devaluing their entire gender. And I say this because at what point in time is being a victim of your own skin? In what way is that ever going to be empowering for somebody? But then the same thing goes for these alleged toxic masculine men, right? For lack of a better name, the Chads out there, or the Tyrones. Those seem to be the most popular names thrown around as having toxic masculinity. Now, just because somebody is a male doesn't make him a chauvinist, and just because somebody's a female doesn't make them a feminist. So what does make those traits is the toxic people and the toxic programming, and the lack of concern of what we are actually here for. It's the lack of purpose. It's the lack of direction that we have, and when we're suffering from some sort of loneliness or some sort of a mental illness, then we lack our purpose. We don't have a reason for our feet to hit the floor. Because if you wake up in the morning and your feet hit the floor because you want to go buy a new Mercedes-Benz or a Bentley, or you want to go make $1 million, if that is your only driving, your only purpose that's driving you, that's going to fade. If you don't have some sort of a purpose, if you do not have a why, there will never be any sort of a legitimate future for you. You know, when I wake up in the morning and my feet hit the floor, I have a purpose. My purpose is my family. And you know, things have not always been as amazing as they are right now. They haven't always been absolutely incredible. You know, relationships, marriage, parenthood, childhood, all of it. It's all going to have its rough moments. But if you have a purpose and you have a why, then you can make it through those rough moments. And when you have your downtimes, then when you have your purpose and you're driven, it doesn't matter. You're going to get out there and do it. You know, you weren't born with skills, right? You weren't born with the ability to program a computer, to play video games. You weren't born with a skill to play basketball or football or baseball or whatever. Those are learned. What you were born with was willpower. And only you possess your own willpower, right? You're the only one that can witness your own dreams die. You're the only one that can understand the true strength that you have. But if you don't have purpose, then you'll never be able to experience what that strength is. You'll never be able to find that strength that's going to drive you in the direction that you want. You know, like if you work your job right now and the only thing you're doing is simply surviving, what does your future look like? What are your future plans? What are your future goals? You know, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and he's absolutely crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. He has multiple real estate properties, and he, you know, he's several years younger than me, but he has his future lined out. He knows when he wants to start having children. He knows when he wants to get married. He knows what his game plan is and what his future holds. He has a purpose. Single right now, but his future looks bright because he knows the direction that he's going, and his purpose and his why are in alignment. So just because you're single right now and you're lonely or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't have the same purpose as me. But the thing that we have to understand is we need to have direction, and we absolutely must have our why. We have to be willing to step outside of our comfort zone. You know, if you went back and you watched that the live interview with Coach Debbie the other day, I posted it Monday. If you go back and watch that, I was absolutely terrified. I was terrified. I've never done anything like that. And the irony of that is the title of it is being comfortable in your own skin. Now, I don't know what anybody else's opinion is of it or how I did or whatever. I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is I was willing to step outside of my comfort zone and do that live interview on her live show. And I do that because of my purpose. I do that because of my why. And I want to better the future for my family and for myself, and I want to be able to help other people. That's why I do these things. That's why I come out here in the forest and make these videos. That's why I go for the walks and I share all of this with you guys, is because I want people to understand that no, you are not alone. And I want people to understand that the future is bright if you make it. You know, a light bulb isn't going to turn on unless you flip the switch. But if you want to click on YouTube and you're lonely, or you want to, turn on TikTok or whatever, and you want to find people that are in the same situation as you, and they're getting on there, and all they're doing is talking about their sorrows and their daily woes and life woes, and blaming it on their gender, or blaming it on their race, or whatever, instead of holding themselves accountable and looking in themselves of why they are where they are. Then all you're going to do is you are going to perpetuate that feeling that's already inside of you, and you're going to drive it deeper and deeper and deeper into your soul and into your psyche, into your mind. Because there's one thing that I can absolutely guarantee is you're not alone in this. You're not alone in the way that you feel, whether it's good or bad, alone or happy. It doesn't matter. You are not alone. And you will always be able to find somebody who you can jive with, who's in the exact same situation, who feels the exact same way, who's doing the exact same thing. But the difference is, do they have a positive message? Are they motivating you to do something better with your situation? Or are they sympathizing with you, driving you deeper into that misery that you're existing in? That willpower that you were born with, there's nothing stronger than mental toughness. And anytime you're in a poor situation, anytime your situation gets bleak and the future doesn't seem bright, that's a door opening for you. That is an opportunity opening for you to strengthen and become more resilient. And in my opinion, you need relationships for that. You need to have a loved one. You need to step outside of your comfort zone, and you need to go talk to that girl, or you need to go talk to that guy. You need to initiate that contact, and you have to become comfortable with with the rejections that are going to come along the way, because it's, not only in dating are you going to find rejections, but in everyday life, the job opportunities that you're seeking, every opportunity that you're trying, rejections will come. But the only guarantee is you are going to miss 100% of the shots that you did not take. And I firmly believe that we are here, we are living these lives, and our purpose is for these relationships, and to build to build a generational legacy, to build something that's bigger, more powerful, and more important than ourselves. That is our purpose. And I can assure you that as soon as you find that purpose, and you find that relationship, and you find yourself in a situation where you're comfortable with being where you're at, that's where the true power is. You're going to find yourself being more willing to give. You're going to want to prosper more. You are going to want to do more and accomplish more. Now, don't get me wrong. I have everything that I need in this world, and anything else that I have over my family, my shelter, my vehicles, or my commuter, even the food that I eat, the water that I drink, the shoes on my feet, the clothes on my back. Anything above that, it's not a need, it's a want. The designer clothes, the hot rods that I have, the amazing views that I have from my house. I don't need that stuff. Those are wants, but those are wants that I can afford, and the cost, in my opinion, is worth it, because I know my purpose. I know the direction that my life is heading. I know the direction that my family is heading, and it's all by design. It's all planned. It's all been planned for the last decade and a half, 2 decades. Now, moving here to the PNW, that was not planned. That was very unexpected. But it was one of the best moves that I ever made, and it was one of the best chances that I ever took. One of the best risks that I ever took. I mean, I know without a doubt, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you guys. I would not be making these videos if I had stayed in Yuma, in Arizona. It never would have happened. I would have left there, or I would have stayed there, and I would just live my life and never taken more risks, and never taken more opportunities. And when my family and I moved up here, it just seemed like the entire world, like everything around me, as soon as I took that risk and we got here and we got settled down for a minute, like it just seemed like everything opened up. That move, it was scary as hell, but we did it for a purpose. We followed our gut, we followed our instinct, and here we are. So had I stayed in Arizona and stayed stagnant, I never would have been graced with all of you beautiful people and all of your presence. We never would have had any opportunity whatsoever to engage in anything, because the comfort level that I had there was just too easy. Life was on easy mode. I made a fantastic living. I had a very affordable house. And everything was easy. Life was easy. But then when we got up here to the PNW, we quadrupled our mortgage. My pay didn't, sure as hell didn't quadruple. That'd be pretty damn amazing if it did, but it didn't. But that was a risk that we were willing to take. Something was calling us. Something was telling us that this was the right move, and this was the risk that we had to take, and we followed that instinct. We followed our gut, and we took that risk. And I couldn't be happier with the outcome of any risk that I've ever taken in my life. So if you're sitting there and you're stagnant and you don't know what your purpose is, you don't know what your why is, go deep, man. Ask yourself over and over, why? When you come up with an answer, ask yourself why again. I want to make $100,000 a year. Why? I want to work as much overtime as I can so that I can build up as much money as I can. Why? I want to get this new fancy hot rod. Why? I want to get married. Why? I want to marry this woman or I want to have a kid. Why? And when you get down to the bottom of your why, then you're going to understand and you're going to discover the power that you have. Most of us already have all of the answers. We're not asking ourselves the right questions. We have these answers in our minds, but we're not asking ourselves the right questions, and we don't even realize it. We don't realize the power that we have that's inside of our voice and inside of our words, and the power that we have to share that with other people. And I believe that sharing these words and sharing my thoughts and putting it out for the entire world to see, that's my purpose, man. That's another one of my purpose. That's another one of the reasons why I do this, is because I believe that I was meant to do this. With the growth that this channel's been experiencing over the last several months, I could easily turn this into $1 million business, but then I have to go back and ask myself, why? Does that align with my purpose? Do I want to deal with that stress? Do I want to put up with the headaches, or do I want to feel like I'm working another job? I don't. It doesn't align with my purpose right now. I'm not doing this for the money. That doesn't mean to say that I'm not going to accept sponsors anymore, in the future or whatever, because that will happen. But I'm not doing it for that reason, and I'm not doing it for the money. It's just an added benefit if it happens. I'm not desperately seeking to find more money, to work more hours, to gain more stuff. That's not what I'm doing. I'm following my purpose and my alignment to help people. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, whether it's the YouTube channel or working my job or whatever is involved, my purpose is pure. My purpose is helping other people. My purpose is my family. These are the things that are driving me. These are the things that are pushing me forward and getting me out there and doing this. Waking up every single day and just feeling stuck and having no direction, or just living just to survive. Why is that the way that you're living? Why don't you have a purpose? Why don't you have that drive that's going to jump you, that's going to motivate you to jump out of bed, feet hitting the floor, and get to running? So if you made it this far, do me a favor and go down into the comments section and put purpose. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason. We all have our why, but a lot of us don't understand what it is. We haven't found it yet. Instead, we just stay there stagnant, never going further in our lives, and never doing more with ourselves, and never finding what we're actually capable of. And it's because we don't have purpose. We aren't being driven by purpose, or we aren't purpose driven. That is probably the most important thing to figure out in being successful, right? In achieving the life that you want and achieving your dreams, is knowing your purpose, knowing your reason, knowing your why. So I want to thank you guys for all those super thanks that you keep sending me. I truly agree. I truly appreciate it. I'm extremely grateful for you. I'm grateful for every single one of you that shows up and all of your positive feedback and the generosity that every single one of you has shown my family and this channel and myself. I hope you understand how much I appreciate you. So with that, that's all I got for today, guys. I want to thank you guys for showing up. I hope you guys are showing up for yourselves. And I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful day. Peace.